That's the best turkey I've ever made. Hey guys, I am Steve from Cookout Coach. We're all about trying to help you take your barbecue to the next level, no matter what you need. Today what we're going to be talking about is how to make a bacon grease turkey. That's right, I said bacon grease turkey. If you grew up in a country kitchen, you know that bacon grease is the center of the kitchen ecosystem. You probably grew up with a grandma who had a pint jar of bacon grease just sitting in the window. So we're going to take the classic bacon grease, incorporate it into our Thanksgiving turkey, and produce some of the most succulent turkey we've ever had. To begin with, we're going to give this turkey a 24-hour brine in just Cosmos turkey brine. No crazy recipes here, just follow the instructions on the back of the pouch. If you find you've got a turkey in a container that needs more than 1 gallon worth of water to cover it, hey, just make up another batch and pour it over. The big thing is you want this turkey submerged. We want, especially these turkey breasts, to absorb as much moisture through reverse osmosis as possible to produce delicious, juicy, succulent turkey. On the day of the cook, we're just gonna get this bird out of the brine, pat it dry, and I like to put it on a wire rack over top of a cookie sheet and just put it back in the refrigerator for about 2 hours. This is just gonna give it plenty of time to drip dry. Nothing crazy here, just nice and simple. When it's time to get this bird on, we're just gonna get our Akorn fired up. Today we're using some cherry lump charcoal. We're gonna start this Akorn the way we always do and just go ahead and bring it up to 275 is where we're gonna start. We're gonna toss in a single stick of cherry wood just to produce a light amount of smoke on this bird. Now the fun part, let's get this thing seasoned up. So I've got my bacon grease saver, and all I'm gonna do is just take and coat the outside of this bird with this bacon grease. A lot of recipes you'll see will call for cooking spray or peanut oil, and those are all fine. But when we use this bacon grease, we're gonna get some of that flavor from the bacon. We're gonna get some of the salt. We're gonna get some smoke. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna sort of pre-season this bird, as well as do wonders for the skin to help with the crispiness. We're gonna start on the backside because to me a Thanksgiving bird is as much a presentation piece as anything, and I want this rub to be nice and even all across this bird. The rubs we're gonna use today are Cosmos Q Dirty Bird. It's a good barbecue rub, but it's got just those great savory flavors to it. It's gonna go fantastic on this bird. We're also gonna use Cosmos Honey Chipotle Killer Bee. If you've ever had a kicked up Cajun turkey, you know that spice adds a lot to the turkey because it's a pretty bland meat on its own. This chipotle and sweet is gonna do a similar thing for us, just gonna give us a little bit of kick with a little bit of sweet. With the backside seasoned up, we're gonna flip it back over on our wire rack, make sure we've got that skin covered with that bacon grease again, and just go right back over with Dirty Bird Hot and Honey Chipotle Killer Bee. No injecting this year because everything we wanted to do was in the brine. This bird's good to go on. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it on this wire rack and get it right on the Akorn. The wire rack's really gonna help with moving this bird around when it's done, or if we need to rotate it during the cook. We're gonna stick a temperature probe right in the breast so we can watch it, plug it up to our fireboard thermometer. We're gonna put this bird to rest until it hits 100 degrees in the breast. Now you might be asking, Steve, what's important about 100 degrees? At 100 degrees, we're gonna kick in the Akorn superpower when it comes to cooking poultry. At 100 degrees, I'm going to open the vents on my Akorn. For me, it's going to be about 3 on top and between 2 and 3 on the bottom. I want to raise the internal temperature of my Akorn to about 400 degrees. I want to do this not just to get it hotter, but in the process of heating it up, we're going to be moving tons of air through this Akorn, and that convection over that skin is really going to help it crisp, especially with that bacon fat on it. To get to 100 degrees took us about 2 hours. Your time is going to vary depending on the size of your bird. This is a 14-pound turkey. At about 130 degrees, we check this bird and we can see we've got a little bit of, it's getting pretty dark on one side. So because we're on this wire rack, we're just going to go ahead and pick up the wire rack, rotate it, close the lid and let it keep going. We had a bit of a hot spot there, a spot where the heat was collecting in the dome of the Akorn. It's no problem. It's not burnt, it's just dark. Let's keep it rolling. At about the 150 degree mark, I opened it back up to check and I see that we've got a little bit more darkness. At this point, we're almost done. We just need to get it over the finish line at that 165 internal temperature. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tint over this bird. We don't want it to take on any more color. It's beautiful the way it is. A little bit of aluminum foil over the top will keep it safe while we cruise on into 165. And at about the 3-hour mark on this bird, we hit 165 and it looks beautiful. We're gonna let it rest for about a half an hour and then we'll dig into it and see how it came out. So there was the carve, and if you saw it, it's super tender, it's very juicy. You probably know that I carved it the wrong way. I would really recommend if you're doing this, take those breasts off and cut them against the grain, but for that picture perfect carve, we did what we wanted to do. Here's my piece of turkey. Cheers, let's see how this bacon grease did. Guys, I've done some great turkeys on this channel. This one is my favorite. It's tender beyond all tender. It's moist, which is the biggest driver for me when we're talking about turkey. That honey chipotle killer bee, that little bit of right on the back end of it, oh, it's so good. And then that bacon. If you didn't know what it was, it'd be hard for you to pinpoint that's the bacon grease, but it added a perfect amount of salt, some smoke, a little bit of that pork fattiness to the skin, and then the skin, when we ramped it up, rendered out perfectly. I could hear the sizzle. All in all, do this recipe. It's not hard. Cosmo's turkey brine, dirty bird, and honey chipotle killer bee, bacon grease, and a Char Griller Akorn. Man, I'm so excited to do this for Thanksgiving to see what my family thinks of it. But if you need a killer appetizer to go with your Thanksgiving meal, hey, meet me over here. Let's get you sorted.